This is a nice cool morning. It's around 29, 30 degrees. And we've had a lot of movement this morning, but we saw a really good 4-year-old. We're looking to take something in the 6-7 range and really try to get a more mature deer, but that 4-year-old was with a doe. You know, he was guiding her, pushing her, putting her back in there. And, you know, we saw the same thing last night, so I think we gotta just wait here for our mature boys to come off of locking down with the doe that came in a couple of days ago. There's still deer cruising. That was a younger buck, but you know, we might go try. We didn't see any of the more mature deer in this area, so we might go try a couple other places, see if we can pull one out.
Like any property that you're hunting on the first time, you know, you have these preconceived notions of where the deer are going to be and what's going to happen. And you know, it was mid-December and we were in the middle of the rut, and we weren't on the trail of anything, any real good mature buck, and so we just kept kind of looking and trying different areas and just moving around and trying to get on the trail of a good buck. There was this buck Pedro that Chase and the guys had seen on a couple of weeks prior, and the problem with a really old buck is they start to regress, and sometimes they can look like a 3-year-old. And unless you've seen a whole bunch of those, they can pass you by. I know I've made the mistake in past years, and Chase, you know, was kind of showing me this footage. He was like, man, look at this really good, you know, young buck. And I looked at it and I was like, man, I think that buck's like 13, 14 years old. And, you know, we just kind of started looking at him and watching how he walked. He had a bit of almost like a limp, you know, a bit of arthritis in his knees. You could tell it hurt every step he took. But no matter how much it hurt for him to take a step, he still had one thing on his mind, and that was chasing tail. What we did is we put a plan together and went down into that salt flat where they had seen him before, and just thought, you know, surely he's going to be back and forth here chasing does. You know, it was just a little bit of a flat where, for whatever reason, the deer just moved through it like a highway. The sun's starting to come up just to the point where you can see silhouettes, and I can see deer out in front of us, and there's a lot of does around, and I can see some young bucks chasing. And I mean, I look over to my right and I can see the silhouette, you know, of Pedro and his wideness right there, just off to the right. I mean, you know, through one of those little side windows. And he just kind of sat. It was like he was surveying what was going on in the dark, and we just sat and waited for him to come out.
There he is. There. That's Pedro over there in those cactus.
The problem was when he came out, there were so many deer and there was so much chasing. It was not just getting one lined up, but making sure he didn't have a deer in front of him, making sure he didn't have a deer behind him. And it was a constant game of moving because you just had so many young bucks chasing. And Pedro looked like he was just going to come in, get some snacks, and then he was going to get to chasing his tail.
I don't have a shot now, so this may be a while. I'm gonna definitely say that's the oldest deer I've ever killed. That's like a 15-year-old desert giant. I'm shaking a little bit. It's weird, they were almost like in a lull in the rut. Like we saw very little. You know, a few does always come in to eat down here before the full rut gets started, really. Christmas to New Year's is really the peak, like Christmas Eve. And today's, what is it today, the 20th? Or the 19th? And, yeah, it's the 19th. But, you know, it was almost like there was almost a little bit of lull. Everything's trying to feed, get back up to speed before the big week. But, man, I'm really interested to go see this deer. And you know, we'll go through aging him on his jawbone and everything, too. But that is an old deer.
You know, I knew there were some old bucks back there, but it wasn't until I walked up on him where just like, good Lord. I mean, you saw the sunken in back, the sort of hips that were kind of caving in and, you know, really starting to deteriorate. But I mean, that deer in its prime, oh my God. I mean, he was a great deer then. You know, this is a deer that's 3-4 years past his prime. But still, he's just an awesome deer. I mean, so much width and just mass and character. Just an awesome deer to take.
Yeah, you can see. Look at the mass right here. How much mass he had out here. Yeah, he's got one broken tine. But I mean, this deer at one point with this much mass, imagine him being, you know, before he went over the hill and tines. I mean, this was awesome. I mean, he's an awesome deer now. But this old grandpa was a heck of a South Texas stud at one point. Look at this. He's got calluses from, oh, look on his chest here. Hair's falling off. From laying, you know, so long. This deer, you know, I mean, think about how long it would take you to lay down to get calluses.
I mean, it was great to hunt Freedom Camp and have that fun for myself, and I'm glad JD invited me. You know, I think he wanted to kind of pay me back for some of the trips I've taken him on, but you know, I also got to enjoy Freedom Camp a lot that year, you know, coming and helping the other groups and seeing the other guys. And I remember we drove up one day and, you know, I pull up and there's 3 guys skinning deer, and, you know, and I just thought, like, this is what Freedom Camp's supposed to be. I mean, these guys are doing it themselves, and, you know, everybody's telling me their stories about what they saw, and, oh man, this buck came, and, you know, and I was just like, you know, this right here, this is what JD wanted, and this is what it is.